Hello, welcome back into the LCS Challengers League. We're here for the Rally Cry halftime show. And what we're doing for this one, I'll just let everyone know beforehand. We're doing an AMA with Keel here. So that way, if you want to ask him any questions, make sure you get in Twitch chat, you ask all these questions, and Keel will be answering them. But before that, we're going to give you a chance to type out your questions, get everything out there. We'll talk a little bit about the game, and then we'll get into the AMA with Keel. So let's talk about that game, because that game, it was pretty one-sided for Team Liquid Challengers after a couple of early plays. Wouldn't you say, Keel?
Yeah, definitely. I think I like the idea of the 3-camp mid getting the Casio flash is very good. And then I feel like maybe he got a little bit lost and not used to fighting against Casio, because it is really hard to beat the champ. If she just has enough mana to get her spells off, she can become really a threat. And I feel like Fear, we're not really used to playing against it. Maybe unsure what fights they can and couldn't take. And it kind of made it hard for them in the early game.
Definitely agree with that. And we kind of pinpointed two plays that really broke down the game. It was the initial first blood, whereas the flash over the wall from Trevor, where Mir was able to get that and get Perry's flash as well. And then the 4-man Cassiopeia petrifying gaze. Those, in my mind, were the two plays that broke that game for TLC.
Yeah, so the thing with this pick for APA, there's only, I'm pretty sure, 2 players who have played Cassiopeia all split long, and APA is definitely the biggest proponent of it. We know it's that comfort pick for him, and I agree with Keel. They weren't really used to it. They weren't sure what to do. I really wanted to see Perry come back mid while APA didn't have his flash, get a kill into Shochi's pocket, get him off of the map. Might have helped more with securing those early objectives. But yeah, the team fighting from TLC was nuts.
All right.
I think given how Fear... Oh, one sec. I was just going to say...
You go.
With how Fear like to... It seems like Fear really do like to take almost every fight they can.
Yeah.
And I think Casio specifically, it's just really hard to beat her unless she's like already poked out or just in a non-favorable condition. So I'm thinking they just have to readjust to versing Casio. And then even with Renata Glass, like they really do like to take these fights, but it was just hard, yeah.
Wait, so do
I
you
almost wonder if you ban it, honestly.
Do you think it was playstyle, not even the draft there for Fear?
I think Fear just prefers to be taking these fights, and Tails draft is pretty good, like knowing that going into the game, like trying to contest that first dragon. Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I just think you ban the Casio. I feel like if you aren't comfortable playing against it, just take it away. You know, that's always one of those strategies where it's like, yeah, we don't have that much practice against it. Not many people play it. Take it away. That's like why we see the Olaf taken away from Faisal, the Seraphine taken away from Manui, champions that people can play against, but they aren't too practiced against them. So instead of letting those go into the hands of someone who is very capable, just take it off the board. By now, hopefully, we have enough questions for the AMA. So, Keel, since my internet has been a little bit funky today,
worries,
I'm going to let you guys kind of take over this part.
What? Well, okay, I'm skipping that one.
Okay.
Do you think Fear can make a comeback after getting beat down like that?
I think easily. I think Fear have a bit of a situation where they maybe are like uncomfortable, a little nervous game 1, and I'm pretty sure now game 2 will be very telling for like the momentum of the series. I don't think Fear are even that mad. It's hard to be tilted when the game is like a stomp like that.
Yeah.
So they're probably fine.
Just like regain, go next, right?
Yeah.
Probably laughing too, as well as just being like,
You're like, oh damn, that Cassiopeia really crunched us, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyways, game 2. Yeah. All right, Keel, whose fault was that loss? That's tough.
Ooh, last game?
Yeah, game 1.
I'll say coach. I think the players just gotta mid-series. You just blame the coach and then do your best for the next game. It's the only solution.
I love it. No, it's true. Try it and true, right?
Just keep faith in your teammates, and then everything will be okay.
Yeah, it was a draft diff. That's all it was. Coach, what's going on? Come on.
All right. What non-meta pick do you play that you do not understand why everyone else doesn't play?
It's a good question from Cubby. I think my clear answer is Nunu.
Let's
It is completely overpowered.
I was about to say, I think we all knew what the answer was. Let's be real.
But
I don't
him to
even
say
know
it.
what counters him. Like, I play him. I don't know what I would pick, so I'm blinded Nunu. I don't know. And yeah, he's like really good in this meta.
Yeah, it's pretty true. Keel, what champ would you pick for your world skin, and why is it Nunu?
No, world skin?
Not Nunu.
Yeah.
I would have to think very hard about it. I want to say probably the Karthus, though, yeah. Karthus or even Nidalee.
Oh, true.
Ooh.
Nope. Final answer Kha'Zix actually. Had to think about it a little
okay.
more.
Ah,
Yeah.
all right. I'm a bit surprised. I thought it was going to be the
assassin
Nunu.
playstyle, yeah.
I thought it was going to be the Nunu for sure.
I mean, Nunu already has like one of the best world skins ever. TPA, you already know.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I take TPA every game, man.
Yeah,
that's a good
as
one.
you should. All right, let's see. Questions. No, there was one.
Well, I hope there's several. I can't see
Well, there's
chat, so-
several, but one I haven't said is
Okay.
what I meant. Will we see a sweep? There you go. It's a new one.
Oof. I think this next game will be very telling. I'm curious how Fear try to adapt, and then even like choose like how TL will want to respond if they'll change anything. Maybe like some 4-5 change bans for them. Like they probably feel pretty good. I think both teams had like an okay plan going into it. Fear just got caught off guard.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fair.
Maybe we'll see that turnaround. Maybe we'll get the series of an indeterminate amount of games because we can't be specific for obvious reasons. Magical.
5.
Okay, anyways. Next question. Okay, which champ would you pick for Fear in the next game to respond? So what do you think is the draft strategy, essentially?
Ooh. So the one thing I do think Fear are really good about is like engaging fast. I think Trevor on Brel, Thresh looked very good. And then even Shochi on something like Trist, where he can push and try and like move to these fights and take the fights, I think looked pretty good for Fear. And then if they don't want to go for this type of style, maybe they could have Manui pick something like some Mage's bottom or just something off meta to help them in the early like dragon fights they're taking on.
Fair. I mean, I'll be honest. I was surprised Thresh didn't get touched.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, actually, me too. I was expecting it to just be like banned perma. I mean, Trevor was literally like MVP of that last series. Dude played out of his mind on the Thresh in all the games he had it, and well, okay. All right. If you had to, I like this question. I'm curious what you think. If you had to replace one of Nunu's abilities with an ability of another champion, what would it be? We'll say non-ultimate to make it
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give him a Veigar cage on the E.
on the E.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so crazy.
Well, that'd
Like
be
a moving
nuts.
cage would be good, yeah.
That'd be nuts. Oh my god.
And then also I have seen Trevor's photo shoot for Calvin Klein. He was looking great, yeah. Hoping we can hear from him about it in the interview, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
well, yeah. I mean, they got to win the whole tournament before we get that one. But
All right. Here,
Rage.
Akil, I got a question for you.
Okay.
So, if you had to remove a champion that's not Yumi, who would you remove?
I would remove Akshan instantly. He is gone
Really?
forever. And I
Okay.
cannot beat him in solo queue, yeah.
Ah, I see. A very understandable personal reason. All right. So we got time. One more question.
One more,
I think
yeah.
this is the most important question. Heel, if you had to pick one of the NACL casters for a candlelit dinner, who would it be?
I think I gotta go with Beatdown, yeah.
Yeah, good call.
Okay,
Good call.
wow,
good,
did not
good call.
expect that.
Earned it, yeah.
Yeah,
you-
all right,
yeah.
fair enough.
Looking forward to it, yeah.
Okay, yeah, me too.
You wouldn't want me at a candlelit dinner anyways. I have no manners.
Did you just eat the candle?
Yeah, probably. That
right,
I would
well.
just play with the candle fire, just be like, ha.
What would you do? Never mind. We don't. I don't want to talk about your potential pyromania. Point is, we got a lot of cool answers from Keel, which is pretty good. And I mean, one thing I'm gonna ask now, since Magical got to ask, does your prediction for the series change? Because you snuck in the 3-1 before we went to draft.
I may have been ambitious at that, yeah. So I'm gonna...
Okay.
I mean, it's only one
I'll
game
stay
so
with
far.
it. I'll stick with my prediction, but
Okay,
still
I
looking
like
pretty
that.
good so far, yeah.
All right.
looking
I like it. I like it. We'll see. I mean, you talked about before that Fear were able to bounce back in the series against FlyQuest, where they had one game where they didn't look very good. Then the next game, they came back and they were swinging. So you never know what's going to happen here, Keel. So give us a final word of encouragement for Fear before we get into draft.
Just get the Fear copy paste in the chat, yeah.
There we go. Love
So the
it.
copy pastas, yeah,
Get
true.
the copy pastas. The copy pastas always give a lot of power to teams. But Keel, we'll see you on the other time for the next halftime show presented by Rally Cry as we get into Champion Select for our second game of the series, best of 5. TLC taking a commanding lead, even if it's just 1-0 at the moment. That first game was well played by them, and both teams remaining on the same sides and starting off with the same 2 bans.
Right, so Fear have chosen red side twice now. Remember, they got to choose side selection for game 1. So clearly they think that either they can go for a similar style for what they went for, or maybe they do actually ban that Cassiopeia, like you were mentioning, Magical, and try to take that one out of the picture.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the Cassiopeia banned. It obviously was something that they weren't as practiced into. There's a couple of fights like the 4-man Petrifying Gaze where it was able to get the 3 stun and then the slow that pretty much won the fight for the team. But Fear do change a little bit. No Zeri going to be allowed over for Arrow this time around. And I'm wondering if you want to get the Recon here, but they decide to go for the Wukong really early since that wasn't banned this time around.
Yeah, so now they're going to go for the handshake with the Gragas instead of playing the Vi. I mean, that's interesting because, one, we know Faisal plays this one. A lot of members of Fear actually run this champion. But the big thing there is Perry is going to be the one running it more than likely. And I think he's improved on the pick recently, and it's a really strong pick.
And here, getting that Aphelios taken by Manui this time around Thresh, something that pairs very well with it. We were just highlighting how great Trevor has been on this pick, but Kim down back onto Recon as well, this time with the Lovers duo for Arrow. So powerful bot lanes for both sides of the table.
Well, I mean, we set it up. This was the pick that Trevor played out of his mind against FlyQuest with. So now they have that deadly duo of Aphelios Thresh into the Lovers duo of Xayah Rakan. So now, I mean, you have that really powerful hyper carry bot lane, and it's just about trying to set up around it at this point. You're trying to get that facilitator mid from Shochi, get Faisal on some kind of tank, or you could still have him on the Gragas and put Perry onto something else.
That's why I do like Gragas. It does have so much flexibility, and not seeing him just as the tank Gragas does make me more happy. Never was really too happy with just tank Gragas top lane. Really boring stuff. Now we get actually some more fun, but as we get into the second part of the bans, Fiora banned again against Bradley, something that he has been playing blind all split long. Not too surprised, but here, I want to see if that Cassiopeia is going to be what is banned away by Fear. There's something that they didn't do too great against, but it is Kennen instead.
Oh, and I'm getting word too that we actually have a surprise for you guys. Instead of just us casting Game 2 Magical, we got Keel coming through here.
Hey, we're bringing him back. We've got him back here. What up, Keel? All right, Keel, talk to us about the draft so far. What are your thoughts?
I like Fear's direction. Even the Gragas and Wukong, it's a pretty good counter. And yeah, it just seems like Fear's gonna have a lot more tools to be able to fight.
Yeah, and I like the Sedge ban too. That was different from what we saw before. Like, you know you're gonna draft for this Aphelios, so you want to remove that like dog pile of CC coming through here. But Sante, the dog pile of his own with his own kit, so Faisal's gonna run it back.
And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see another Cassio.
Yeah,
I think there's at least some chance to see it.
Yeah.
Looking at this draft, there's a good chance that it could be that. But instead, it's going to be Ahri for APA. Maybe a little bit worried that the Gragas isn't going to go into the jungle that has a possibility for Shochi to play, since Shochi has played at mid lane a couple times.
Yeah, I think Ahri pretty good with the rest of TL's comp too. It's just good to have extra dashes and engage. Works pretty well with Wukong to like really be able to get his damage off.
Yeah, that's the big thing I'm looking at too. I mean, AP has been incredible on this champion, and I was interested in the matchup there for Shochi. It is going to be that Syndra coming through here. So this kind of, I want to say like anti-dive, that ability to make space with that Scatter of the Weak is what I'm especially looking for here, because you have this Wukong Ahri who are just running straight into your face.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's something that I also do like about Shochi playing that Syndra just in general, is it gives more potential for them to deny all the dashes on the side of TLC. Plus, it's something that Shochi has played very well during the playoffs on. That's why it got banned last time. We saw that taken off the board by TLC because they understood that that was something that could be played. And I think that's also possibly why the Cassiopeia wasn't picked here, because they had left open Syndra and they wanted a slightly better matchup into the Syndra, not having to worry about getting maybe not pummeled in lane, since Syndra's not quite the lane bully she once was, but having to worry about getting outscaled.
Yeah, I do like the Ahri too. I think both teams probably are happier with their drafts, honestly, coming to this one. And as long as Fear can get through the early game like pretty safely, I think they're gonna have a much better time.
Here we are, onto the Rift, game number 2. TLC with the lead 1-0. looking to get back to the grand finals for a 4th time in a row and a 3rd chance at getting the title in a row as well. While Cincinnati Fear, the perennial underdog story that we have of provisional teams, they got the 4th seed, and now here they are in the top 4. Nobody would have predicted this at the beginning of the split, yet here they are continuing to defy the odds.
Right, both these teams have been just beating expectations over and over again. And you said there wouldn't be any level 1s, Magical. Well, what's this?
Oh, just a little bit of a back and forth. It looks like Bradley's like, yeah, I got some backup. Georgie's on the other side. Chip damage. Not really an invade, just a ward placed down by both sides. That's not level 1's beat down. Come on.
I mean, no one died, but hey, we got another one coming through.
Barely
still level 1.
Yeah, it's still a level 1.
No,
You heard
it's
it from the jungler himself, Keel. Sorry, bro, it's 2 versus 1. But the big thing too is that this is important for Fear because Mir had his run of the early game, and we talked about how important it is for both for mid jungle on both of these teams, how they both influence the rest of the map and generate leads. So going into this game too, you could see that focus on early game vision, trying to track Perry, trying to track Mir, and you could see with all the vision that Fear got early on, they're gonna have a good idea of where Fear is going to go in these early stages, and that's super important because we talk about Perry being a jungler who's usually pretty good at reading what other junglers do and answering them, and he has to be that in this series for against Mir.
Looking at how the junglers are currently pathing as well, Keel, I'm just curious to see where you'd like to see both sides try to strike first, if it's going to be anytime soon at all.
Yeah, so the early game, it's kind of hard for either one to kill the other. Like, they both just have tools to run away. So I'm kind of expecting just to trade full clears, honestly. Gragas can always look to gank in this bot lane pretty easily. And then Mir, I think, likewise can look top and around mid. But most importantly, the laners are not that volatile, so it might just be hard to get much ganks off.
Fair. Yeah, looking at how the lanes are, it looks like... I said this last time. I'm like, it's probably going to be passive, because I saw it calls as well. What?
This is what I was talking about.
CL did see Perry walking this way before the ward died. So Perry going to go into the jungle with 2 prio lanes.
Nice.
Yeah,
good call.
It is good. This is what we were talking about too. Mir going for a lot of this creative pathing where he has this, he's full cleared bot side and he is just moving towards this mid lane and he's wasting a lot of time. And unless Shochi makes a mistake, which we'll see.
Shochi's got to be careful. Nice guy to the weak. Probably going to have to flash over the wall, waiting for the charm, flashing away from it.
Good flash.
Yeah, so you do get something. You do get, but Perry also gets the wolves in trade. And the big thing here is that where's Mir going to be walking towards? He might walk to his wolves, and he's going to lose on 2 of those camps. I think he does.
Gragas can easily outsmite. It's a really nice invade from Perry, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's all. I was just watching that on the minimap. I'm like, wait, you can't get that away from a Gragas.
Yep, just a quick one-shot combo. Nice from Perry. And then Shochi already TP'd back, too, so TL cannot even fight anymore.
Wow, good reads there from Cincinnati Fear. I like that play. Even though, it's a trade of Shochi's flash and now puts that mid lane in a very vulnerable spot. You get Perry in a far better position than he was in last game.
So the question for Mir now is going to be, do you show up again in that mid lane? You can see he's already hovering, and there's already vision on both sides, which is really important for Shochi. Dying now, he would lose out on so much. And the contest actually of this Raptors is pretty big. Oh, look at Perry. This is what I'm talking about. Tracking Mir, they saw him on vision. They're making sure the play isn't available.
Well, the flash in and no flash. Shochi, nice guy to the weak.
Oh,
the damage on APA as well, even with Ignite. APA had to be so careful of the fight that despite not having flash, Shochi single-handedly denied the dive.
The charm missed. That's the big thing there. If that lands, it's probably a different story there, but it's a good response. And now Trevor is here to ensure Shochi can get this wave in. And APA, he's just going to have to go for the recall. And he lost his flash in the process, too.
Yeah, losing out on some of those flashes. 2 of them burn. And as you said, Charm not missed. Connecting.
For a gank.
Oh, I like this. I like this. Bradley, having popped the ghost. Already a ghost for ghosts at the moment. Nice dash away there by Bradley to skirt danger.
Not even a dash. Just some fancy footwork. Just walk backwards at last moment. Really nice. All you lost for it was the ghost as well. But I like this activity from Perry. Yeah, exactly, because Faisal used his. But I like this activity from Perry in this game. Seems like they have more of a handle on what they want to be doing here for Cincinnati Fear. But for the most part, it's kind of like you predicted, Keel. Things are very slow and lanes aren't volatile enough for kills to actually come through. We're still at 0-0.
Yep, but Perry coming to the bot side, and Aphelios has the purple gun to root with Recondo Flash. Maybe he could look for a gank. And then other than that, just going to be farming up. He has a pretty good like time advantage. Mir still has to get a recall off. So if you're in a pretty good spot so far early on.
Yeah, and look at this, Trevor. Catching APA, missing the hook though. He thought there was going to be the side step the other way. He was worried about that. Going to get the body slam. Did not get the Scatter of the Week. Will at least get the Spirit Rush away from APA. With APA being so low, you can't really stay in that lane because Shochi's about to hit level 6.
Yeah. He's backing away. Now he's going for the reset, and this is going to set up that Dragon Play for Cincinnati Fear. But instead, okay.
Faisal has got to be really careful. Bradley, despite not really having the pop-off performances in this series, has been controlling Faisal in the lane phase in both games so far, making him this Cassante really feel like the weak side top laner that he is.
I will say, Faisal has had to blind both times, and Bradley has had the favorable matchup so far, but it's true, he is playing it well, and is forcing Faisal to very low health, threatening kills very often. But the big thing is still that utility for the team fights. Faisal has that opportunity to get on someone like Arrow, like Mir, whoever, with that ultimate, the all-out, can really impact these team fights. And as long as he doesn't fall too far behind, he will still be able to do just that.
Akil, you know that I don't like boring early games, right?
I do know this, yes.
Good.
Your prayers might be answered. APA looking to die here.
Yeah, this is what I was hoping
there's
for.
No counterplay?
I'm glad I just talked about it because I made sure to cast a curse myself for first blood for Shochi.
At least now you're using the caster curse properly, Magical, and Fear is going to be able to get that first kill. Yeah, exactly. You get some gold onto the Syndra. And this is big for Fear too, because I mean, they're starting this game on a much better foot than what they did before. It's going to secure them that first dragon. They're the ones getting ahead on these neutral objectives, and now eyes are on the top side. Rift Herald, something Fear will have a really good contest for, even with support roam from both of these teams. And I want to see if Fear are actually going to go ahead and try and secure that, because that could be another way they get themselves a lot of gold in this early game, especially onto Aphelios.
A really nice job early game from Fear, just perma-ganking APA and really abusing his timers.
Yeah.
That's the main adjustment from last game.
Yeah, and this is where I kind of want to bring back the conversation where we talked about just a couple plays that went awry for Fear last game that really gave TLC those advantages. One of them being that level 3 death that Trevor had when jumping over the wall and came down Mir following up on that. The other one was around the, I think, 9 minute mark around the dragon fight. That ended up being a huge play by APA on Cassiopeia. But here, even if it's been a much slower game, Fear have made sure that each fight, each play, has been more sided towards themselves. Right there, Charm landing, and I jinxed that one, unfortunately. Wasn't trying to, but now they get the damage on Amir. Perry's got to be very careful. And this is where I got to make sure I don't cast a curse anymore, guys. I'm sorry.
Magical's the puppet master of this game so far.
Yeah, literally, just everything he says doesn't happen. Oh.
No, it's everything I say, it just gets completely turned around like the second later. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big play from APA, who has been, honestly, like you said, Keel, the butt of a lot of ganks in the early game. And the big thing to watch for here, why it's so dangerous to walk into these chokes, that charm, so dangerous. And it's Kim Down who sets it all up in the process too. As soon as you get an early kill like that, this Herald is yours. I was talking about how it's possible for Fear to contest it, but as soon as you lose your support that quickly, the fight's just not there anymore.
No real way to fight back in that one. Unfortunately, that meant Perry was right behind his support. He was going to fall as well, and TLC bounced right back into this game. Even if it's only a slight gold lead, they've got themselves that Rift Herald as well to look to gain more gold. And with what we've seen a lot from TLC, it's always been about how Mir's been playing around this bot lane and really trying to set up Arrow in a lot of these fights, which is where I'd expect it. But Faisal's still trying his best to fight against Bradley, but Perry was spotted out right now.
Yeah, Perry was seen. I mean, he's here to really hover more than anything else, just to make sure Faisal doesn't get run down. Oh, wait.
Gotta be careful. Bradley's playing that one very wisely. He knows that Faisal's trying to bait him in, trying to get him to freeze the wave the best he can.
Perry's there. He's wasting time.
He's doing a really good job so far, as long as he doesn't end up overstepping.
Oh, I knew we having to flash there as well in the spot lane. As we go back to the top lane, Bradley, he didn't think that Perry was going to waste a whole minute sitting top lane.
Yeah, that's definitely the thought there, but because of that threatening the freeze, Perry needed to stay. Otherwise, he risked his top laner going down. Bradley reads it incorrectly and gets punished for it heavily there. And there's no answer from TLC elsewhere on the map too, so it's a 1-for-0.
A nice play there by Perry. Just pretty much making sure that all that time committed was actually for something. And as you talked about, B, the fact that he had to stay there, otherwise Faisal's top lane was going to be completely destroyed. It was already getting really difficult, but now getting that kill will remain even. I'm looking elsewhere at the map because the top lane, well, you know, that's a fun play. Mid lane has really been the story of these two teams. And we can see how much time Kim Down has spent in this mid lane to allow Shochi to get charmed each and every time by APA.
And man, Kim Down, he's just been having the run of the map. He's been all over the place on this recon. And he's just been setting up so many of these plays for Team Liquid Challengers. APA talked about how he is one of the most improved players in the league, in his opinion. And it's been a big part of why this team has figured out their identity, why they're starting to succeed. And it's really coming to fruition in this game too.
Yeah, and
yep, really nice room timer they got there. Yeah, sorry.
I was just gonna throw it to you. I wanted to get your opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, he managed to sneak in. I think he W'd over the wall in Fog to avoid the one word that Fear did have. And then they were kind of caught off guard by the recon engage. And then honestly, just the mechanics of it were really well done too. It was like a crazy engage from Mir, but ended up working out really well because of the recon.
And spent a lot of time by Kim Down. Spent around APA this game, even last game. He tried to spend a lot of time roaming around the other parts of the map, allowing Arrow, who last game had a far bigger lead and was far more comfortable. But this time, feels comfortable having the Xayah, something that can self-heal for itself, be on an island with a nice Rift Herald charge.
Yeah, I like the use of the Herald there to get them that opening to go for the invade. It doesn't lead into much, but you make that space for Arrow to be able to pick up that gold. And it feels like that's just so often what TLC tried to do here as they are setting up for this dive. And oh, Perry just left.
Yeah, Perry just left. Chochi's going to be too late as Nui and Trevor doing their best to clear out the minions.
I don't know.
Have Blue Gun. Could help out a little bit. There aren't going to be the minions to help out. With 3 members still here. And oh, it's Trevor. Venturing a little too far forward, and now Manui by himself with 4 members surrounding him. Even if there are... That's going to be the Moonlight Vigil, and Manui getting a lot of damage.
They got one.
Might trade 1 for 1 at least.
Now this maybe could have bought time for Fear to get back to the Dragon too. I think Teal will not be able to do it without recalling. So yeah, pretty nice outplay from Manui, honestly.
Yeah, agreed. So you're gonna more than likely deny the potential of that objective, even though they are walking towards it right now. I mean, Shochi's in the area. It's too difficult, as you say.
And Faisal! Wow, getting a huge chunk there onto Bradley.
Oh, wait, he
has
killed.
TP advantage. He could kill him underneath the train.
He got him.
He does. Solo bolo for Faisal.
This chat, man. You give him an inch, he will take a mile. And that's what we were talking about. Faisal's been playing this champion so often. And now he's the one getting natural advantages in the top side. But this play was a little unlucky, Keel, eh? Trevor had no idea they were there.
Yeah, I mean, TL just overplaying a little bit too. I mean, their play would have worked out well. Probably just a misplay from TL. But they were still open mid. They were still not really having a wave. Like, they were kind of just playing for the kills here.
Yeah.
And ended up really biting them for it.
Yeah, it's as you say, like, they lose that opportunity for the Dragon. They lose APA in the process, so they actually give a shutdown, not just a kill. So it's net positive for Fear, giving this Aphelios, one, the Bloodthirster finish, and just that lead, a slight gold lead, surely, in this bottom lane.
Yeah, and with the Dragons, Fear probably slightly ahead in this game right now. On either comp, they do have to keep getting picks around mid, like using the Syndra stuns, the hooks, the Gragas combos, to get that engage off. Otherwise, they should probably just disengage and keep kiting. And then, yeah, once their carries get more items, Fear's carries can really be a threat. Especially with this Gwen set behind for TL.
But still, we look at TL, and we look at Mir, especially on this Wukong. Having been a part of everything, alongside with APA and Kim Down. This core for the team, and how they've been playing to find these picks, these skirmishes. Very similar to what you're just talking about, utilizing Shochi with his Scout of the Week. Well, you have a good recon engage with the Grand Entrance into a Charm. It's the same kind of engage.
Yeah, I think Fear just has to make sure they keep finding Recon, don't let him sneak up on them like he has been, and then they can finally teamfight. But if Kim Down keeps finding good angles, it's going to be very hard for Fear to play.
I think that's why Fear also right there.
So they give the full Herald, yeah, because they just wanted the first setup.
They didn't know.
They didn't want to get for it too, so they're not too upset about it.
Yeah. At this point, you.
Whoa! All right, there's that pick you were just talking about, Keel.
From Perry.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. I would love to know like how he saw him, but maybe he saw him walk into the bush. Either way, that's pretty huge. It's not just one turret. It's actually going to be 2 coming through here more than likely. But overall, things are working pretty well for Fear this game. It's looking a lot better than in game 1, and they're more comfortable in this early game. They're even. They're still looking for these picks, and they're succeeding.
Mir trying to engage, though, on a Shochi. That's going to be a nice pull back with the Lantern, as Perry doesn't have very much mana. Trying to run away. Will be able to waddle his way out of the fight. Well, there was an ult burn by Mir and by Kim down. Nobody falls in the fight, and this gives more ample time for Manui to possibly take the first turret for his team.
Yeah, I love that hover spot for Perry. Oh, Faisal taking. I mean, that's kind of unlucky. I think that's pretty nice for Aphelios. But overall, you still get that solo turret gold there for Minui, and that's something to be really happy about. So now you get those turrets. Now you get yourself ahead, and Mir's Gambit to try and get a Herald play in the mid lane doesn't actually work here. He can still hold it and drop it closer to Dragon Time, but it's going to be really important for TLC to secure this Drake because those stats are important, and that soul point will be huge.
I don't think Fear are too mad to have the gold on Faisal either, because a lot of TL's comp just has to be diving the backline, so I think Faisal could maybe even go unchecked to do a bunch of damage to the squishies of TL. So I don't think they're too sad about it.
Yeah. Especially how we saw him against Bradley just a couple minutes ago, getting the solo bolo against them.
Yeah. He's building for the 1v1 too. I think Cassante can win this 1v1 up until like 3 items even maybe.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Jack Show does help out a lot, especially because, as you said, you need the 3 items as Gwen to really be able to cut through all those resistances he's going to have in the fight.
Now, as things slow down, TLC trying to secure vision over this top side, and it's going to be pretty important. The timer isn't quite synced with the Baron, but now you want to be able to make that space to drop this Rift Herald here, and if you get this turret, makes it harder for you to, or easier rather, for TL to set up for this dragon in about a minute's time. Keep that top wave pushed in, and then get that good reset.
But look at everyone of Fear rotating towards the top side. The turret should fall. I don't think there's going to be the fight over that. They're going to sacrifice that one, but they don't want to get the secondary charge to Shelly. Make sure they can take that out of the equation, then rotate back down towards the bottom side of the map to try to answer the 50 seconds until Dragon spawns.
Yeah, so it's looking like Fear don't want to go for a recall. They've spent all the gold that they can, and they're just going to walk their way down towards that bottom side. So they prevent TL from pushing that way further, but they leave Bradley alone on that side lane. And, I mean, letting him catch up back into this game is, like you said, Keel, is going to reach that item breakpoint where it's harder for Faisal to 1v1.
Yeah, I think Fear are really choosing to prioritize this dragon over everything else. That's why they choose not to base, choose not to answer bottom, just to make sure they can try. And Kim now has a nice angle here.
Kim then looking for a huge flank, double knock up, but nobody's there to follow it up. Instead, the damage comes to the flash over the wall. Manui's got the root onto Kim down, will take him down. Oh, the hook on him there! This is why you give Trevor Thresh, because he can do it every single time. Well, Faisal, he fears no one on TLC.
Oh, it's red white.
Diving all the way to the back line with APA. Low enough, but not going to be able to fight anymore. With Dragon up, Fear know what they want.
And there it is. That's what Keel was talking about. You don't get the angle for Kim down. He even found a good knockup, but TLC weren't ready to capitalize. And you're going to see it again in this replay. And again, no vision. They had no idea where he was. But look at Arrow and Mir. They aren't quite there yet. I think Kim down was afraid that they were going to check the bush, and his element of surprise was gone. But that big thing was what TL were banking on, and it doesn't pan out.
Fear have some beefy champions too, so if they don't die in that initial recon engage, it can be pretty hard for TL to win after the fact.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we saw here, yeah. Faisal tanking 3 people all alone.
And look at the damage he does too.
Absolutely
cool absurd. Absolutely absurd. But you know what, Fear, they find the play. They only trade the life of Perry for 3 members of TLC. They get themselves their 3rd dragon of the game. And as you talked about before, Keel, Fear of this team keeps turning around after having a devastating loss in one game. They know how to balance right back into the second game.
Yep, I think it's kind of been like their their like main consistency point this whole split. Like sometimes a little nervous game 1 maybe, and then really good at bouncing back.
So far,
as Faisal's alone in bot lane right now, so TL have to respond. This will probably give Fear a little bit of setup in like a minute or 2, and then they can play into the Baron side.
Yeah, I mean, you got 2 items on this Aphelios. Like, that's the big spike you're hoping for. Even if it's not the IE coming through the Gale Force, it gives Minui that ability to maneuver these fights. You saw how impactful the Flash was, allowing him to reposition in that previous team fight. And this, even if they don't get that soul, getting the Baron would be a big way for Fear to continue this lead that they've gotten for themselves. It's only 1K, but it's baby steps.
1K with 3 dragons. Got to keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, that's true, exactly.
Well, very importantly for Fear, they're threatening the soul point, so Gwen will never get to that like 4 or 5 item state unless they give the dragon. So they can force 5v5s to happen earlier in the game, which should benefit them greatly. They're looking for APA here.
Hello. Parry that blast going right over to APA, getting the belly flop as well. And the hook again from Trevor. Every time he needs to, he lands him clutch.
It's good timing. Hey, you can start to threaten this Baron now too. APA won't have teleport on his respawn. It's 30 seconds away, but instead they're just going to be happy with that push on the top side. Collect this mid wave and just continue exerting control on this map.
Looks like they just want to make sure that they are very cautious about this. Not really playing where there's even a slight possibility that Mir can steal away the Baron and get TLC back into this game. Because as you pointed out, it's only now 2,000 gold lead. Even if you add the dragons on top of that, that's about a 3,500 gold lead that you have for Fear at the moment.
You can see where it's situated too. Good lead for Shochi. He's been picking up kills this game. Minui, the same thing. And this is where you want these leads to be. I mean, Arrow is usually the one who they feed gold to on the side of Team Liquid Challengers to get him ahead, be that hyper carry in the late game. But today, it's this game here in game 2, it's Minui who is ahead 3-1 on the Aphelios and well poised to succeed.
Both teams dancing around the Baron. TLC understanding that despite not being that far behind in gold, they do have their backs against the wall. They've even dragged over Bradley just to make sure that if a fight breaks out, it is going to be all hands on deck. Cautious, knowing that Faisal can take on Bradley in the side lane. You don't really want to have Bradley by himself against anyone unless it's Shochi.
I mean, now.
And then a minute 30 on this dragon.
Exactly.
I think it's Fear's main goal. Minui has a bunch of gold, I think. So probably looking for one more reset before dragon, and then yeah, gonna force these fights on the 2 item points where I think Fear can really win as long as they don't get hard engaged on.
Yeah, and this is like why you see them clearing the vision right now. They want to set up their vision on this top side of the map and just keep it so that it's kind of like the reverse situation of game 1. You want to make sure there isn't that exchange here because the Baron will be a big pickup for Team Liquid Challengers. Fear though, not going for that recall. Their timing is kind of low. They actually just want to go for the Baron instead. They have the vision set up.
That or it's a bait. They're just trying to force the hand of TLC, knowing where Kim Down is. As long as they have Kim Down, the main engage for the team, tagged and marked, they know that there's not going to be that big wombo combo of Kim Down, APA, and Mir. And with APA stepping up too far, they easily silence the mid laner with Arrow and Kim Down on the wrong side of the battle, trying to get the Feather Sword for Arrow with the pull back. Is he going to let it rip? He could not let it rip at all because the whole team has been ripped apart. TLC double knockup into the belly slam. Even if Bradley has a little bit of immunity, it's not going to be enough to save Kim Down nor the rest of the team. Bradley will have to save his own self, while Mir should fall to Faisal, though he flashed over the wall to barely make sure he'll kick.
And that's it. That's the fight Fear needed. You talked about Akil. If they don't get engaged on, they can win it out. But what about when they do the engaging? Now they're up 3K. Now they get themselves the Baron. And this
Bradley
is a
soloing dragon though. Maybe they'll be able to deny the soul point at the very least.
That's true.
Looks like Fear are just gonna give it, yeah.
I mean, I think you're okay with that, right? Like, you just
Definitely
got a
not bad,
huge injection of gold here. And you'll see it in the replay. They've just been focusing APA this entire game. And every time you take them out like this, that maneuverability with the Spirit Rush is no longer a factor.
It feels like pretty much what we're watching is revenge from Fear against APA from his Cassiopeia game last time. It almost looks like the exact same pick they got on APA right there that they had gotten onto Parry in game 1.
Yeah, true. There's definitely some parallels coming through in the second game, but Fear favored this time around. And now that they have the Baron, they can really start to lean into TLC side of the map here. Oh, wait.
Oh, they're looking for Nui by himself. You can't be there, my friend. Even though you get a good scatter the weekend explosive cast, Harry and Trevor are getting chased down by Bradley. They do get 1 kill for Shoji, but both carries are down for Fear.
Wow, I have no idea what happened, how this set up, but that's a lot of gold that you lost. You lose 2 Baron buffs, and all you can really exchange for it is this tier 2. That's something. That's pressure on the map. But giving away shutdowns like that is, I mean, it's not good.
It's huge for TL because it lets Gwen keep scaling too. She's going to get all this farm in the side lane. And definitely TL are still in this game if they keep getting these items.
Yeah, that third item that we're talking about for Gwen. Almost going to be there. Probably even get this turret and get the bonus gold on top of that as well.
This will be a crazy
not
amount of
nearly
gold,
enough. Not nearly enough still for Bradley to be able to finish an item, but still huge influx for him.
Yeah, I mean, that plus the objective bounty, he just picked up 800 gold. He's going to be able to more than likely buy another component here. So they've really reduced this gold lead. It was almost 6K. Now it's down to 2. You're still in a good spot as Cincinnati Fear, but stuff like that can't happen. Team Liquid Challengers, a team we know are usually teams who win from ahead in their series against the 100 Thieves Challengers. They were behind most of the games, and they managed to turn things around. So could that be the same thing we're seeing here in game 2?
It's definitely getting scary for Fear, and that's why it's always scary when you don't take the soul when it's available to you, because now they don't even have that like extra cushion of being able to win.
That's right.
Oh, and now Shoji, good scout of the week, has the blast cone safety at least.
A little spooky, but now you can see it. TLC, you can smell blood. They're looking for these plays. There's still the Baron here on a few members, or another wave maybe for the side of Cincinnati Fear, and they've still been able to pick up some gold from it, but you can see it. TLC not struggling as much as they were earlier on.
Far more comfortable. Have those avenues back, such as a nice flank by Kim down, looking for Faisal, but he's already popped the ghost and he's got a lot of distance, waiting it out. Might use all out to just try to look for a 1v1, but Bradley getting a lot of damage, and he's so tanky. Even with Bradley hot on his heels, he's 2 levels behind. And guess what? All that time committed, but 4 members alone on the top lane, so they can take down an inhibitor turret.
That's brutal. You spend all that time, you don't get a kill. All you force out is this Kasante's ghost. And it just means that you gave away all that pressure, all that position, and Faisal can just go right back to pushing in the mid wave. It's Fear getting more of that gold back into their pocket, and like we were saying, still in control.
I think Fear are feeling good too, because TL had to use their recon ult there, so they're not even feeling too scared sieging here. Kind of just making time until the dragon spawns, unless they find a good engage.
They're just waiting it out at the moment. Minute and a half until that dragon will spawn. With a lot of the gold still in the pockets of Fear, they would like to at least recall a little bit to spend whatever residuals they can before looking for the fight around the dragon. They also would love to crack open that inhibitor. Wide open.
Nice
APA was looking for the engage on Ashochi and did get a lot of damage on him.
Well,
Will deny that as Kim down. Would look for the engage. They've got Trevor putting down the box while Bradley getting pulled back in by the Death Sentence. Flashing away. Moonlight Vigil connecting onto nobody. Both sides. Forcing out a lot of ults, a lot of key spells, but nobody falling.
Yeah, the biggest thing is Kim Down has that ultimate back online that you were highlighting, Keel. So now he will have it for the dragon fight. Mir will still have the Cyclone as well. So this dragon is going to be a hotly contested one here. Fear still in control. But if we look at the itemization, where the gold leads really matter here, I mean, Fear, Minui and Arrow are actually even at this point. The big thing is that they both even have stopwatches. Like, only advantage is the crit cloak for Minui. So this Xayah is very strong at the moment. And APA, as long as he lands a charm on a crucial member, the gold deficit isn't as big a deal.
Barry trying to scare away Kim Down. Still looking at Kim Down as being one of the important factors for TLC alongside Mir. As long as these two can look for a flank, and I love this from Kim Down, being as creative as humanly possible so he can get on top of that backline with Mir.
I think also Bradley may be strong enough to come from a flank himself now, and we see Bradley not even grouped with the team. Whereas the other 4 have a bot wave, they could even push if they wanted to. Looks like they're mainly concerned with the dragon.
Teleporting.
Yeah, that's unspotted as well. They have no idea Bradley is there. They will spot him out now. Understanding there was the flank that was being set up by TLC. That's why Perry falls back to get with the rest of the team. Has marked APA a bit, but he is also marked by APA, dodging away from the charm.
Yeah.
Not going to have anything happen. Both sides. It's this delicate dance between both of them. Understanding if this dragon falls into the hands of Fear, TLC, this game is over. It's down to 50%. They have the flank on the other side with a huge blast cone, and it's denied by Shoji! Making sure they can't get there, and even with the quickness, it's not secure. They've lost Bradley! What a huge play by Shoji to make sure TLC have nothing to do against them, and they are wiped off the face of the earth!
Shoji is 1v9ing this game.
Dude,
Two insane stuns
unbelievable.
there.
Yes, like to save the game, denies the flank, and that's gonna be it. We're 30-second spawn timers. We're ace. Fear have tied the series.
What a play from the mid laner of Cincinnati Fear. Not once, but twice in one fight alone. Lands the stuns to make sure the team can cleanly wipe TLC, tie us up in the series. We got us a series. It is going to be a good one, even if it's not necessarily 5, because that caster curse defeat, at least we got more than 3.
And there you go, Keel. Your prediction is seeming a little better now, saying 3-1, and now Fear are on the turnaround, it looks like. But really quick, like I want to know, like what do you think was the difference maker this time for Fear?
I think Fear were just a lot more comfortable. In my opinion, I think TL really want to have a strong mid matchup, and Ari doesn't really win a lot of lanes, even though she can go like even.
Yeah.
And I think with Fear in that comfort zone, they had a much better early game and were able to abuse the APA very well.
And we saw what happens when APA didn't get the leads like he did in game 1. It was Shochi, this time the hero for Fear, tying us up at 1 apiece in the lower bracket semifinals. We're going to toss it to a break. When we come back, we'll have the rally cry, halftime, third time, fifth time show, whatever you want to call it. We'll be right back.